Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you on behalf of the employees of the Department of Public Safety for taking time out of your busy day to help and assist us in honoring one of our finest officers with the police department. We're here to honor Officer Alton Wells. I have a lot of things to say about Alton, but I'm going to reserve those because I think at the end of this, you're going to understand what I mean when I say some of the things I say. We have a tremendous workforce here, and Alton is just, he's an epitome of the men and women we have working here in the Department of Public Safety. At this point, I'm going to ask Councilwoman Pam Muller to step forward and say a few words on behalf of the council and the mayor. Thank you, Councilwoman.
Hi, I'm Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Muller, and I would like to say congratulations and say how proud we are as the City Council. And I also speak for, as you know, the Council's representative, you, the citizens, and all our citizens. Alton is an example of the fantastic employees this town has. And I think all of you here that are familiar with our police force, not because they've done anything wrong, but they have volunteered or they've just been available to help when we've needed them. And I want to just keep this short because I know other people have a lot to say about Alton and this great things that he's done for our community over and beyond. And he is, again, one of our great assets, and we, the council, appreciate all that he's done. Thank you.
Thank you. When I arrived here, one of the things I had to do very quickly was start looking at our employees and identifying someone that would receive the Director's Award. With the assistance of my staff, I looked at the nominations, and although there was some outstanding work that was done in 2011, Alton just kind of stood out. For a chief of police, there is no greater privilege than to honor one of those who are entrusted to your care. And I do take great privilege in emceeing this ceremony. And again, I want to say a whole lot of things, but I'm going to wait until after this video. And he's going to cry back there. I know he is. He's around the corner and everything else. Alton has been very involved with the Spokes for Hope Foundation. We are very privileged to have Mr. Kevin Howell join us today, and I'm going to ask Mr. Howell to step forward and say a few words. Oh, Kevin. Thank you. Thank you.
I didn't know I was going to be first out of the gate here. Over the last week or two, I've really been thinking about when I was was told that DPS wanted me to speak today, and I've got a lot of stories that I can share about Alton. But there's one that really stands out in my mind that 14 years ago, I was taking my daughter to school for her first day at Rockin' Ball off Byron Nelson Parkway. Me and my wife and Kayla, first day of school, were going down Byron Nelson Parkway, and they made everybody pull off the road because an officer got injured and basically got hit by a car and in a critical accident. So I didn't know Alton at the time, but living in the community, I would ask what happened to that officer that they had to care flight off. And for those of you that don't know, Alton died twice on that ride to the hospital, and he was in a tough shape for a long time. When he got out of the hospital, of course, the doctor said that his surgeon and that he wouldn't be able to function in the community, he wouldn't be able to work again, he wouldn't be able to hold down a job, he couldn't be a police officer, and he'd certainly never be on a motorcycle again. And anybody that's ever rode with Alton on a motorcycle knows you can't outride Alton. He's the best on a motorcycle. Well, about a couple of years ago, my mother and father that are here today think the world of Alton like a son. They kept talking about coming over and letting my mother make a lunch. And so Alton and I get on the Harleys one Saturday and ride to Lantana. We had the cornbread and the red beans and the okra, and we had it all. My mother shared some stories. My father shared some stories. I said some things, and Alton's at the end of the table, his normal, quiet self. This is a story that I don't think a lot of people's heard, and that was the first time that I've heard it, and the only time I've heard it. And I asked his permission to tell it today. So knowing what he's been through, it's pretty amazing. With the charity with Spokes for Hope, we always talk about, you know, some years we give away 1,000 bikes and helmets, some years it's 500, some years it's 600, whatever. But there's always one child that inspires you that you remember. And if you bless one child and you give away 1,000 bikes, but you inspire one to help many, then it's all worth it. So Alton stood up from the couch, set down his coffee, and he said, "I got a story to tell." And I said, okay. So Alton stands up and he said, when I finally could leave the house, my wife would take me where she would go, and we went to the Kroger's up here on 1709 at the grocery store. And he said, and basically at that time, Alton, you could set a nickel, dime, quarter on the table, and he couldn't tell you the difference in those. You could look at a clock and he couldn't tell you what time it is. But he walked into that Kroger's, and a little girl ran up to him and hugged him around the legs and looked at him, and he looked at her, and she went down the aisle to the magazine row up here at Kroger's, and she sat down on the ground and wrote a note to Alton, and that's when he pulled it out of his back pocket. And the note that he read is, "Officer Wells, thank you for saving my life. If you did not show up at our house that night, I don't think that I would be here today." He keeps it with him every day in his billfold. Anybody that could live through that adversity and come back and bless kids. And I think about what's the message in that. And really the message in that is that child inspired Alton. He recovered. He's on the police force. He rides a motorcycle. And this city's a lot safer place having him on the road. And kids are a lot safer knowing that he's got that watch. That one child inspired Alton, and he blesses thousands today. Don't forget about the kids. And Alton, you're the most solid individual and beautiful person I know, and I love you. Thank you.
The person I've been leaning on the most since I've arrived here in South Lake 11 weeks ago is my deputy chief. Deputy Chief Daniels is he's a historian. He's the guy who I go to for information. When I first got here, there was a stack of mail on my desk. Former Chief Finn had left in May, so the mail had been stacking up. And I started going through it. It was addressed to the Chief of Police, and you know, I was given the great privilege to lead the department, so I started getting letter after letter commending Officer, and I say Alton, that's a New York thing, Officer Alton Wells, and I asked Rusty, I said, "Who is this guy?" And he says, "Oh, wait till you meet him." And he just left it there, and I did meet Alton shortly thereafter, and I understood and understand why he received so many letters of commendation outside the city of South Lake and inside the city of South Lake. He's a tremendous ambassador for this agency. But I'm going to ask my deputy chief to step forward right now and say a few words, and then he's going to introduce the video that reduces him to tears. And that's a pretty big job there. Chief.
Yeah, thank you, Chief. I'm probably one of a guy at the station that probably knows Alton better than most everybody. I've known Alton before he was a police officer. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about Alton, then we're gonna go into the video. You know, I met Alton through his business, and you know, and he talked about being a police officer. So he talked about the reserve program. He put himself through the academy in 1996, and went to work during the day, went to the academy on his own at night, and to live a dream that he always wanted to do, and that was to be a police officer and to serve people. And believe me, over the 20 years plus years that I've known this man, he is serving people, and he truly means that. We all say that when we get hired, but he truly means it. He comes to work for us in 1997. At that time, I'm a traffic sergeant, and Mrs. Hodges, me and Robert were on motors together, and we were the traffic division with two guys in a car, Jeff Paul and Buddy Sanders. We decided in 97 that we were going to add some more because of the speedway, so we added Alton. Alton hadn't been on the department full-time. He came to work in 1997 full-time for us, put his business on the side. And I went and talked to Alton, and we recruited him to the traffic division, to motors, put him on motors. Then came the day that we decided to put those white shirts on, which were kind of bad luck for us, because I sent Alton to work a school zone, August 14th, 1997. I'm sitting in my office, and I hear having a motorcycle officer down on Byron Nelson. I get there, I'm the first one there. Alton's laying there, and he's squirming around and he's unconscious, but he's moving all over the place. So me and Alton became close that day because I had to hold him down until the ambulance and medical could get there. They took him to the hospital, and like Kevin said, he passed away twice on the route to the hospital, and they brought him back. They brought him back for a reason, because God was going to use him here, and that's what they did. Alton he had a level 2 brain injury. He spent almost a year going back and forth, and that Alton's had he received 24 broken bones in that accident. He's been through 4 surgeries in that accident. Lost his spleen and some other stuff. We took Alton back and forth to the hospital, and when we figured out he wasn't going to die, then we started jacking with him a little bit, because he didn't know what he was saying, and he didn't know, and we used to go to a place called JR's, and we have some funny stories about that, but we won't go into it right now. So Alton came back. He worked through it. Couldn't walk, couldn't talk, couldn't do a lot of stuff that he had to relearn. A lot of guys in his position back in, they would have given it up. They wouldn't have done it anymore, but he didn't do that. Alton got back on that motorcycle. And there's been some after that he's had. And he gets back on that motorcycle. He tells me every day, I just had lunch with him today, he tells me every day, I can't believe I get paid to do this. And he truly loves his job, and he wants to care. He's the most loyal individual I know. He will do anything, and he doesn't gripe. He's never used his injuries as a crutch. He's never said, I can't do it because of this. And he's never complained about his job. So in Alton's world, and me, it's post-accident, and pre-accident. What the video, I'm going to have the honor to show you a video that was made by Mark Myers from Visionary Productions and Cindy Robinson, who's in the room now. And yes, I watched the video, and yes, I had to shut my door on this. And I'm not an emotional guy, but there's things in this video, and there's things that this brings back that does that. We rode a lot of miles together, me and him, me and Robert, me and Quentin, me and all the guys on Jeff Paul. We worked a lot of stuff together, and we were close. Did we argue? Yes, we argued. In fact, when Robert was diagnosed with his cancer, Alton and Robert were going at it a little bit because we're family, and sometimes family you argue, to the point where I had to finally call him in and said, you two need to stop. That didn't affect what you're about to see. What you're about to see is what happened after the accident. What happened to Alton Wells, what kind of man he truly is, and what kind of guy he truly is. The man smiles all the time, and there's a reason. He's very, very happy. He's happy, He loves what he's doing, and he loves kids, and he loves his community. So it's my pleasure to introduce the video.
Officer Alton Wells has been an honored and respected police officer serving the citizens of Southlake for over 14 years. His years of experience and knowledge is a benefit to both Southlake Police Department and the multiple city regional crash team in which he is a member of. The crash team is called out for accidents when a fatality has occurred. Officer Wells is a lead motorcycle instructor, along with Officer Mike Norris from Keller Police Department. He is responsible for instructing hundreds of officers from all over North Texas at the initial police motorcycle certification course. Officer Wells is a founding member of the Spokes for Hope charity, who provide thousands of bicycles for underprivileged children in the North Texas area. Alton is active with Fallen Heroes, an organization that raises money through bike rallies and golf tournaments for families of local officers that have been killed in the line of duty. He owns his own business, Wells Painting, and is a jack of all trades from painting, building cabinets, remodeling, and he can fix anything. Many are unaware that Officer Wells is an accomplished chef and graduated from the University Texas Arlington School of Culinary Arts. Alton is multi-talented and has many interests. Not long ago, if you can believe this, Officer Wells issued a traffic citation, and afterwards the man drove straight to the police station to speak to the lieutenant. He shared, "I just received a ticket from Officer Wells." He went on to say, he is the nicest, cordial gentleman that he has dealt with in a long time. A letter from a citizen who was recently involved in an accident stated that Officer Wells is a real credit to the Southlake Police Department. Others have echoed his sincere courtesy, concern, patience, true kindness, and they truly feel blessed to have an officer of his caliber in Southlake. Typical reflections of Officer Wells' character include integrity, honesty, salt of the earth, someone to call upon in need, very dependable, who truly cares, tough on the outside appearance, kind teddy bear on the inside. He makes a positive impact on people, especially children. He has a heart the size of Texas and is as good as gold.
In 2007, we were all told that Officer Robert Hodges had an inoperable brain tumor. Robert was on motors with Officer Alton Wells, and they were friends. And of course, this upset Alton, and he didn't know how to help his friend. He obviously couldn't help his friend medically, but he also was concerned about Beth and Bobby, their child. What was going to happen to them in the future. Where were they going to go? What were they going to do? Were they going to be financially sound or whatever? That really put a worry on Alton's mind. One day Alton's doing what he does. He's standing on the side of the road and he's running radar working. But this is on his mind. A gentleman named Kevin Howe pulls up. Now Alton hadn't known Kevin very long, but Kevin and Alton started a conversation and this came up. And Kevin asked, "What's the matter?" And he told him, he said, you know, he's concerned about his friend and concerned about the well-being of his family. Kevin leaves. Kevin comes back and he got a check for $1,000 and he gives it to Alton. And that's how this started. They started brainstorming, and they put some fundraising together, got some money put together for Beth, a lot of money that helped her out and Bobby out. But when Robert passed in August 2nd of 2007, they didn't let it die there. They didn't let it go away with Robert. They kept the dream, or kept the idea going. To honor Robert, they established the organization called Spokes for Hope. The idea was to give bicycles to needy families, to children, to put smiles on a child's face, to make them happy, and that's what they did. They started doing fundraising efforts, and they brought some people to help them. A couple of guys came in to help him. A guy named Craig Ludwig came and helped him. He played hockey for the Dallas Stars. He came in. And then we had a guy named Mike Norris. He's a motorcycle officer out from Keller. He came in. They started put on motorcycle events. They started put on poker events. They started put on stuff that could raise money to buy bicycles, and that's what they did. And to this day, they've brought this tremendous smile and happiness to families that, if they didn't, they probably wouldn't be as happy as they are today. And to me, that's amazing. That's how it started, on the side of the road. And as a commander for this agency, I want to personally thank Alton Wells for what he's done for this community, this agency, and the area as a whole. Thank you very much.
Mr. Vaughn is here, and I would ask Mr. Bill Vaughn to come forward and say a few words. Thank you.
Where is Alton? There he is back there. Well, I must apologize for the informality of my comments. They're not near as nice as this presentation that was put together, but Alton is truly an amazing friend of mine. He's somebody that I've gotten to know over the years, and the way that I first got to know Alton was when Robert Hodges was sick, and Alton was just at a meeting of a group of us that were trying to figure out something to do. A couple of the guys that helped out didn't even live in South Lake. One was from Westlake, one was from Flower Mound, but Bill Cassidy and Kerry Turner. But with Alton's help and suggestions, we were able to put together a heck of a poker tournament. And I do a lot of these all the time, but I'd never seen the level of commitment to this, not only from Alton, but from others. And we were able to hand a large pile of cash over to Robert's soon-to-be widow. I don't remember the dollar amount, Alton, but it was, you know, it was six figures. It was a lot of money. Since that time, Alton and I have remained very close friends. A lot of people see Alton as kind of this grizzled old motor cop that's lurking in the shadows waiting to give somebody a ticket. And he is that. No. But Alton truly cares, and he patrols very closely the area in front of Old Union Elementary School. My office is there at the corner, and I was visiting with him the other day, and he got a response on a hit and run or something accident, and at the same time there was somebody driving by on their cell phone. They weren't supposed to be on their cell phone. He said, what I really want to do is go tell that guy on the cell phone to get off the cell phone because I don't want him hitting any kids out here that are driving by. And he really has a heart for the kids. I know that, and Alton, you probably don't want me telling them this, but I'm going to do it anyway. To me, I've been the, I guess, the MC for the Spokes for Hope for the last few years. And to me, the most poignant and touching moment was when I, out of the corner of my eye, caught Alton wiping away the tears when he saw these kids getting their bikes. That's not contrived. That's not anything other than a guy showing his true emotions and just love for what he does. And I also, by virtue of my involvement in Spokes for Hope, I get to see the level of respect that he commands from the other motor officers outside of the South Lake Police Department. There are so many people who have learned from him, who respect him and appreciate what he does for them. And what he does in this world, on this earth, is very far-reaching, and he will be rewarded for it in ways later on. We both share a strong Christian faith, and Alton's my brother, and I love him, and I thank him so much for all he does. Thank you, Alton.
Before I go any further, there are a couple of other acknowledgments that I wanted to make, and people here. First of all, my boss, the DPS director, Mr. Jim Blagg, is here supporting us. And our brothers from our neighboring agencies, from Fort Worth Police Department, and all three from Fort Worth? I'm sorry? Roanoke. And Roanoke. Guys, I don't know your names, but thanks for being here. I would also like to acknowledge and thank Mark Myers and Cindy Robinson for putting together this video. That's tremendous. It really is. I almost feel with this in hand we can run him for office and, and get him elected somewhere. But can you see how this, he made it very easy for me to select the person I was going to give the Director's Award to. He does a lot of things in the community, outside of the community, that he doesn't get a whole lot of acknowledgement for, but he is truly an ambassador for this city, for the police department, and for his brother and sisters in blue all around the world. Right now, what I'd like to do is present him with the Director's Award. I'm going to ask my Deputy Chief to come up. And I'm going to ask the man of the hour, Officer Alton Wells, to come forward. Should I give him an order and tell him to take it off?
That will ruin the motor dock image. It ruins the motor dock image.
Alton, truly, you epitomize everything that goes into the components of this award. I cannot thank you enough for representing this agency the way you do. I cannot thank you for being the ambassador that you are for our profession. Congratulations.
Thank you. Just very quickly, I am humbled by this great award here, very prestigious award, and humbled because there are so many other people that are with us here and do this every day, that there's no way that this could happen without everybody that is involved with this. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, man.